Good morning, everyone, and welcome to a very special episode of LPALive. We are LP Alliance, an Intercaucus coalition rebuilding the Libertarian Party and revolutionizing the liberty movement. My name is Amanda Griffiths, and I am joined by Kyle Davis, but he's not that important. I am joined as well by Rina Matsapulina and Oleg Persikov, which I hope I didn't completely butcher. They are from the Libertarian Party of Russia, and it is wonderful to have you both today.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
So I suppose I want to begin just by asking about the state of what is it like to be a libertarian in Russia currently, and to be leaders in the Libertarian Party of Russia currently.
Yeah, so if you're interested about how it is to be a libertarian in Russia, I guess Oleg is the best person to ask because I'm not in Russia currently, I believe. So yeah, Oleg, go ahead.
Okay, became a libertarian maybe in 2018 and joined the party. Actually, it is not very easy. Libertarian in modern Russia because of of government of Russian authorities, because do not very like any kind of opposition, and Russia do not support a lot of measures which are provided by our government, increasing of taxation as military international, as our kind of government influence on just people, like ban of Telegram, of our internet resources. So we have a lot of problems with that, with freedom in Russia at all, in economic sense, in personal sense even. So it is not very easy to be libertarian now. However, we try to survive.
Yeah. And just to give a little bit of context to your listeners, so in Russia, we always had some kind of a opposition, right? But a part of it was actually embedded like in the government, right? And as for Libertarian Party, it was never like that. And I mean, we tried to register our party. It exists for more than 15 years now, but we never got the registration. They never allowed us to become like an official party and have our own candidates and stuff. So yeah, it was always kind of difficult for us, but now it is, of course, even more difficult because you have to care about what you say, you have to care about what you do more than ever. So yeah, I mean, it's hard for everyone, I guess, who is still in Russia, but yeah, for libertarians as well.
Yeah. Do you find that it's difficult for members, that there's fear among members in the party, or is there more a motivation to act? What's the general mood there?
Yeah, this is an interesting question because when the war started, of course, everyone was frightened and like didn't know what to do because you had a sense of like rules by which the government played, and at least we thought so. And the rules have changed, of course. And
yeah, here too.
Not
quite in the same way, obviously.
Yeah, and yeah, well. Previously, I mean, we were doing like a lot of stuff previously before the war started, but when it started, we kind of became quiet because we didn't know what to expect, like what we will be persecuted for, and like what are the rules now. But now, when it's like 3, 4 years in the war, actually, we kind of feel like we can start to do something again, and our party members start to have lectures, conferences. We continue to participate in elections, even though elections in Russia are kind of a joke, but still we value the experience. We think that we need to like touch the audience, touch the people, so we try to do what we can. And I mean, we're good for now. I think no one is currently, like as of now, persecuted in Russia from our members. So yeah, we try to do our best to keep everyone safe and still do something and spread the libertarianism in Russia.
And I guess we are the most maybe not efficient, but active opposition power in current Russia.
Oh wow.
Yeah, but that's mainly because everyone else was banned and
it's true.
or fled the country. So yeah, we kind of stayed under the radar for a while, and maybe that is what saved us. But yeah, so basically we're I would say not the only one, but one of the few organizations who are still doing something in Russia.
It since Stephen Nikela has spoken to you, I assume that he probably mentioned that like Amanda and I have been part of the effort to refound and get going the International Alliance Libertarian Parties, or Libertarian International now.
Kyle, by the way, you were really quiet. I don't know if it's just me, but I tried to turn you up and it didn't work.
Gotcha. Weird.
There we go. Slightly better.
Probably just me being quiet. I'm less rambunctious than normal. And obviously, we're certainly hoping that LP Russia is going to be part of this, and that we're going to have kind of this global libertarian movement. So, for one of the things that I was curious about thereby is, do you guys think that that is a thing that you can be part of and be like involved in? Because I think that if there are libertarians anywhere that really know how to speak about what it's like to be in a place where libertarianism is kind of stood against, LP Russia has got to be high on that list. And so the knowledge you guys can bring and everything would be so valuable.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. I agree with you. And of course, we would like to be a part of this movement. I think we are kind of a part of this movement. We have some ties with different libertarian parties. We, as you said, met Stephen, and we have close ties with French Libertarian Party. So yeah, we kind of have connections. But yeah, for sure, it sounds amazing. Yeah, it makes sense.
I'm curious as to, because like you talked about becoming a libertarian, what was your journey to that? And I guess that's a question for you, Irina, as well. I'm sure that, I find that it's really interesting, especially when you talk to people from libertarian parties in Europe, that it's all libertarianism, right? But there's an emphasis on different issues, different ways of portraying those issues. So what brought you to libertarianism?
Actually, we have, I guess, a very usual common history between Russian libertarians, where during our whole life we believe in same things like liberty, laissez-faire, and so on, and we just don't know this word, libertarianism. And once we saw videos of Mikhail Svetov. It is one of the most prominent libertarian from Russia. He's a blogger, and when we got this knowledge about such ideology, about libertarian movement, that in Russia actually exists libertarian party, and some of us decided to join it.
Yeah. For me, it was a little bit different. As Alex says, he's correct. So Mikhail Svetov is like this prominent libertarian in Russia, and he was the voice of libertarianism for many, many years. And a lot of people came to this movement because of him. And I was actually subscribed to his channel for many years, but he was not the person who brought me into libertarianism. Funnily enough, it was some dude who so he basically made like series of videos on political ideologies, and this guy was actually kind of tied with Russian government. I didn't know that at the time, and I watched like this whole course, and there was a part about libertarianism that really like stuck with me, and I started to learn more about it, and I found out like basically what Alex said. I was into these values. I just didn't know how people call it. And yeah, I just found out that there is a libertarian party in Russia, and there's a place where I can meet other people with the same values. Never imagined myself joining a political party, but I said like, yeah, whatever, I can try. So yeah, it was, I think, 2019. So yeah, 6 years later, here we are.
Yeah, and I'd like to say that in some sense it is easy to be a libertarian in Russia, because we actually do not trust our government at all. Even if you are not libertarian, you know a lot about corruption system in government. You know a lot about economic crisis. So you will be a kind of spirit libertarian, but maybe not ideological.
Yeah, and this is actually also interesting. I have a theory that in countries where the governments are the worst, these are the places where you actually can promote libertarianism with the most success. So
Mhm.
I think Argentina is one of the examples where we have Milei, right? And the things were so bad, and the things that he was saying made a lot of sense to people, and so they voted for him. So I think as soon as we will have a chance, to have like free elections in Russia, or at least to do some legal propaganda and stuff. So I think it will be easy to sell these ideas to people. And I saw it quite a lot before the war when we had our campaigns that we did, like for party members on municipal levels, on parliamentary level. And when we are talking to people on the street, I mean, explain them our ideas, they're like, yeah, for sure. We don't like our government. Yeah, we don't trust them. It should be less of them. And yeah, they understand the idea. So yeah, I think libertarianism could have bright future in Russia, but yeah, we'll see. Maybe someday we'll make it
Very nice.
happen.
Yeah, I think it's funny because in America, we're getting to that point, but there's just such a long tradition of, our leaders are here to protect us. And so it's much more difficult to try and flip the switch for other people. But yeah, I think you're correct. I think that in countries where the government is so corrupt and so blatantly corrupt, we're getting to that point here. Then it's easier to convince people that, we should be self-governing, we should have self-ownership. It's a little bit harder when you have programs that, the government is there to protect you and is mostly good.
Yeah.
We're seeing like as people have begun to really wake up to how bad like the U.S. government has been, we're watching all of the like Republican side say, well, yeah, the government is terrible, but it's the Democrats, and the Democrats doing the same thing. So it's the Republicans, and there's enough people that are still like, well, the government's bad, but maybe it is just the other side. That there's still that like, they're waking up, but they're not there yet on the full. Oh yeah, it is just both sides being terrible. We need to get away from them entirely.
Yeah. I feel like, people, the biggest mistake here is that people don't try to fight the concept of government. They just say that this government is bad, right? We could make it better. We can do it better. We have actually pretty much the same thing with communism, right? People say it all the time. We will make it right. It was wrong, communism. We know how to make it right. So yeah, I think you need to focus on the concept of government, like why it's bad, and yeah, maybe it will help because.
You're not going to get an argument from either of us on that
Yeah,
one.
yeah. But I am curious as to how you push that, especially in a country where there are a lot of restrictions on, what people can say safely. How are you finding yourself able to push those ideas and get them out there in a way that, doesn't get you run out or shut down and unable to talk to anyone?
It is a little bit hard. However, we try to use legal framework which we have now in Russia, and fortunately, it is enough big for us nowadays. During last years, it unfortunately was becoming less and less free from government restrictions, but we have an opportunities to use some analogies from history, for example, from our history of Soviet Union, that we have examples when government regulations led to catastrophe, and say that we maybe will have the same during some time, and we have examples in Western countries where even liberal democracy governments now use with awful restrictions, for example, in the internet, against freedom of speech. So we just can show these examples and say people think maybe we have much more in common than the government's propaganda says.
Yeah. I guess something that you can do is you can focus on the educational side of things, right? When you become too political right now in Russia, it's a little bit dangerous.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what we basically try to do when we make like these lectures on conferences where people speak up. Yeah, we basically promote them as educational events, and it works as of now. We'll see how it goes.
Are you finding that?
Fortunately, philosophy is not prohibited in Russia.
Yeah.
Are
Oh,
you
no.
finding that membership has gone up since the war, or are people kind of laying low? Membership's gone down. What's happened with the composition of the party?
Yeah, it's gone down significantly, and yeah, I mean, it's hard to blame people.
Mm-hmm.
Since the war started, people started leaving party because, of course, they were afraid and they were seeing what was happening with other political movements. So we had this Navalny movement, we had some other political groups, not always parties, but still. And yeah, a lot of people were persecuted and they had like very long sentences. And it was frightening for people, especially for the ones who were just regular members. You know, they didn't like run in elections, they didn't do anything like crazy. They were just supporting the idea. And yeah, these were the people who left the first. And I think now, like for the last couple of years, it's kind of stabilized. But yeah, we lost some people when the war started. And but yeah, people actually continue to join our party, which is kind of surprising given circumstances. But still, yeah.
Yeah, it is a known problem that actually people who are still in party very often had to flee from Russia,
Mm-hmm.
and I guess a half of our activists now abroad.
Um, when the war started, I was actually at a company where the CTO is Ukrainian, and all of our devs were in or around Kiev, and suddenly they're all like, "So we need at least a few weeks of vacation. We are going anywhere else." And so like the whole company slowed down for a little while there, as everyone was going everywhere. It was wild. So I would imagine that that was probably similar for some of the LP Russians.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was.
It is interesting. We don't have that, like we don't have the exodus from the actual country yet with people who are in the party, but who knows? You were talking about doing educational work and talking about philosophy.
All right.
Are there particular ideas that you try to introduce more in those lectures? Are there particular issues that you try to focus on a little bit more that might appeal to people?
Actually, it depends on person who, for example, provides lections, because people have different interests in Libertarian Party of Russia, and I am, as a person who often have some has some lectures about libertarianism. I tell much more about history, as I said, about Soviet Union, about bloody revolution of Bolsheviks, and about modern examples when libertarian reforms work, like in case of Argentina, like in case of Georgia, like in case of Reagan, and so on. And it is interesting for young generations because they need in some basis in this world of chaos where you just can't to say what you really think
Stay
in
around.
Russian context.
Yeah, it is interesting, and I like how there's pulling from a lot of different examples, right? So American libertarianism, it's very much okay. We're just going to talk about the stories of American libertarians, but there's so many international examples. There's so many examples abroad. This might be a really silly question, but what are some of the objectives of the party in the short term? I mean, right now, I know that things are very intense and it's very difficult to. You won some elections right on the municipal level recently. I think you had at least one. But what are some of the longer term objectives that you have?
Yeah, this is a great question. So I think our main goal right now is to keep and build libertarian community in Russia. It was surprisingly strong over the years, and we had some huge rallies. You know, like the biggest was 60,000 people. It was with other political forces, but we were one of the organizers. But it was a while ago, so that time passed. And right now, I think this is our like one of the main goals to keep libertarianism alive in Russia, to be present in Russia, and also when people ask me like, why should we participate in elections? It is a joke, right? There is no point. I always tell that it is an experience. It is an experience that will be very valuable for you if things will change in Russia. I think people who participated in elections in current Russia will have a big advantage in free Russia, because if you survive this, you can survive anything. So it is a cool experience, and I encourage people to do that even now, even though it's hopeless, even though you will not be registered, like 99%, you will not be even registered, you will not be in the ballot, but still you can campaign, you can meet people, you can talk about your ideas. And when you're campaigning, this is actually one of the uh, we have not so many chances, to talk freely about our ideas like regular people. We have like YouTube channel, we have social media, but this is our audience. So these are people who understand. And when you join elections, you can meet some people who know nothing about it, and this is great. And this is why we need to do that again and again. Like, it doesn't matter how hard it gets, doesn't matter if it's all like predefined and we know the outcome, we still need to do that. So for our party members, this is the message that I relay, that we still need to participate in this. And also we still need to hold these lectures, we still need to talk to people, even though it is our audience and we like on the same page. Still we need to meet up, we need to see that we exist in real life. And this is very important.
We have a question from Rob. We did kind of address this a little bit from Rob Yates, but he's asking specifically about the level of censorship and oppression. This was sort of the first question, but maybe more specific now. What is the actual level of censorship and government oppression for being a libertarian in Russia?
At least it can be talked about.
Yeah, exactly.
As I said, it is a little bit hard because you, for example, can't say about what happens in Ukraine by words which use Marina, for example. I'm in Russia and I can't say that it is this word. I can say only that it is a military operation or something like this. So the level of censorship is very high, and I can't even tell something about such figures like about some leaders of Russian opposition now, because they are extremists or something like this. This status was provided for them by government, of course. So it is a little bit hard.
Yeah, and I would add that the question states that what is the actual level of censorship for being a libertarian in Russia? I think it's the same for every people in Russia, not only for libertarians, right? So yeah, you just have to filter what you say. You can't, like, this is ridiculous. You cannot call like war a war. This is what Oleg is referring to. This is insane. So yeah, you have to just think of every word that you say in every post that you make, and when you chat in the Telegram or anywhere else. You have to think, because we always keep in mind that like the police, the FSB can be in these chats, and they will basically they will screen everything that we say or do. And not only this is not the case not only for us, but for every Russian right now. So yeah, it is very high. I don't know, like, I cannot feel it myself, because as I said, it's been like 3 years since I left Russia. So I feel like I lose this sense of how it was in Russia. I remember how it was, but right now I don't know. So yeah, Alec knows best, but I guess it's very hard to live like this.
We're seeing a similar rise of watching so far in the U.S. right now. They've just announced that they're going to attempt to build profiles on every American by watching all of our social medias and putting them together to see if we are potentially terrorists or illegals. So very good time to be an American right now.
Yeah, but it's the same in the UK, right? I think it's like a global trend. And this is a funny thing, when people tell me like, oh, Russia is like so not a developed country, you guys are so behind. I think we are ahead, because everything that Putin did in recent years, we see it now in Europe, in the UK, in the US, everywhere. And like, this is absurd.
I think
that's why we've thought that the international movement's so important.
Yeah.
And some of our rhetoric has had other even libertarians sort of clutching pearls, as we've said that we need a libertarian revolution. And so often people hear revolution and they think you mean revolt or violence or anything. It's like, no, this must be a global movement of the people standing up and saying we're not going to be governed by tyrannical leaders anymore. Rob does have a good follow-up here, and does that translate to other countries? So, like, can you say anything good about the United States or bad about China, for example?
Actually, we can say a lot bad things about United States, about Europe.
Yeah, this is encouraged.
Actually, we even can criticize China or any other regime, but for example, we should censor ourselves when we tell about Belarus and Alexander Lukashenko, because our securities work together against citizens of Russia and Belarus. And this, I guess, just one example of such high tide relationships. But our countries are available for criticism, but maybe not very high if we have some very tricky moment, like negotiations between Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin. In this moment, I guess it will be better to not say anything bad about Trump.
Yeah.
We luckily are still at the point where we can criticize him pretty openly, but they are threatening to lock down more and more there. So we'll see what happens.
So one of the things that we struggle with a lot is coalition building, because there are a lot of purists in the party here, which in a way is good because you want to have that ideological consistency. But in another way, it can limit the work that we're able to do with people who might have different beliefs in one area or another. And because you're talking about how, and I completely agree with you, in a way, like Russia's more advanced in the sense that you have that skepticism, that pervasive skepticism of the government in general. Is it easier to build coalitions there with people who are not libertarians, or is it more isolated?
Oh no, I think it's far more difficult.
Okay.
I think like Russian opposition, it's become a meme, I think, already, because for all of the years they've been fighting amongst each other. They don't they didn't fight Putin, they spent all of their time fighting each other. I don't know. I think there can be many reasons for that, but I guess the main one, and actually after the war started, it got a lot worse. They just hate each other. I think that's because you cannot, like right now, sadly, you cannot fight Putin. You just cannot. Like, he's too strong. I don't know what you can do. And they feel that, and they feel like helpless, and that's why they kind of relate to one another. Probably people feel like even if we will, join forces, nothing will change, because in history there were some attempts in 2012 when there were huge protests in Russia. Oh, we lost Oleg. Okay.
He's back. We're good.
I'm here. I lost your connection.
Yeah, welcome to Russia.
I mean, the fact that we're speaking in nearly live time across the entire world is one of the greatest things with the internet, right?
Yeah, this is true. Yeah. So basically, in 2012, there was like a coordination, a committee where a lot of opposition leaders tried to come together and build like some kind of a joint force who will fight Kremlin and current regime. They didn't work out. Guess what? They just fought all the time. That's it. That's like the whole history of Russian opposition. And yeah, it didn't get better. It's just getting worse.
I know that it was a dark day for us in the United States when we heard the news with Alexei Navalny, which Amanda is much better with Russian pronunciations than I am, so I very much apologize for my horrible American butchering.
It was okay.
And we're starting to see some of that here, where people are afraid to speak up because they're afraid that they're going to be disappeared. They're afraid that they're going to be imprisoned. And so I think that you're really right when you say that Russia's ahead on this one. And so that's one of the things that I'm really hoping that the Libertarian National, and working with you guys and working with everyone from around the world, that we can kind of stop this in some places and hopefully be helpful for LP Russia too, right? This is something that we preach solidarity on LPA all the time, where it's about finding the things that we have in common that we can help each other with. So, I guess my mini rant here is that I look forward to working with you guys over the coming years and trying to be helpful for both Russia and the United States together.
Yeah, I agree completely. Of course, we have the same objective. We come from different places and different stances, but the objective is the same. And yeah, I think through cooperation we can try to make it work. I was a lot more skeptical of success of the libertarianism before Millet, but right now I think it is possible. It is possible. Like it just happened, so it is possible, and I guess we can do that.
Yeah, and the way that it happens in every country is a little bit different, right? I mean, you said it very well that Argentina had a very unique situation because things had been so bad, and then Milei comes along and just takes a chainsaw to everything. And yeah, it's difficult in areas where other ideas have become more entrenched. But yeah, when we see the rise, I think, of technology and AI being used to target people and profile people, that's when it becomes scary, and that's when there becomes a global threat. So we have the Scientific Libertarian says, I've talked with Libertarian Party of India before. They're great, but not Russia. Do they have a page to follow? You guys do have social media pages.
Yes, true.
Yeah,
You can find in X our page, Libertarian Party of Russia, in YouTube, Libertarian Party of Russia, and in Telegram, Libertarian Party of Russia too, but in Russian.
Do you find that social media is a good platform? Like, do you have good platforms where you're able to communicate and spread the word, or are a lot of things locked down? What is one of the main ways that you get ideas out there in the public?
Our major platform now is Telegram, which was developed by Pavel Durov, who is Russian and who is libertarian too. However, he had to flee Russia because of persecutions. Actually, Telegram, it is our main platform. The majority of Russian citizens which are interested in our work, in ideas of libertarianism, read us there. However, we have enough big for Russian party account in X. So you can subscribe. Yeah, it is bigger than our Telegram, but it consists not only from Russians but also from, for example, Argentinians who are interested in what happens throughout world in different parts of libertarian movement throughout the world. So our main platform now is Telegram, and our government understands that a lot of opposition figures or parties use Telegram, and that is why it tries to ban it. It banned it at all in 2018, and when we organized huge protests against this decision, and fortunately Telegram now works in Russia. But I suppose that we are waiting just a moment when government will try to ban it for next time, because they try to develop their own platform, their own messenger, which is called Max. It is awful, it is useless, and what is more worse, it is read by Russian securities.
Oh, yeah, that's not good.
The Libertarian Party of India actually just got pulled down from X. So
yeah, we don't know why.
Yeah. So Rob Yates with another excellent question here. Was it a big deal in Russia when Edward Snowden sought asylum?
Actually, I don't remember those
that was
times.
a while ago. Rob is old, so yeah.
Yeah.
Marina, do you remember?
Yeah. I mean, I do remember the moment. I don't think it was like a huge deal. It's not like everybody was talking about it. In my circle, for sure, for sure. So we were following the Snowden case and everything that was happening. So yeah, for us it was an interesting turn of events. But yeah, I don't think it was like some huge news. And I think he was actually criticized for it, right? Like a lot for staying in Russia, which is ridiculous. I think it's better to stay in Russia even in current events than to spend your life in prison.
Yeah.
But it was used by Russian propaganda to show that actually there is no difference between our regime and regime in the West.
Mm-hmm.
Is they wrong? Like, are they wrong? I don't know. I'm not sure.
Not really.
In some ways, they're absolutely correct.
Yeah.
So Dave Davis asks, is Telegram a good platform or a Russian propaganda platform? Telegram's pretty globally used. And
What?
I would think that if they are using it as their main platform, that they are certainly of the mind here, and correct me if I'm wrong, that it is the best way to get out.
Yeah, I think Telegram is actually one of the main messaging platforms for young people in Russia. I know in US it is WhatsApp, right? And people don't really use Telegram, but it's not like that in Russia. I think WhatsApp is mainly used by like parents and I don't know, grandparents, but yeah, young people are all in Telegram. So I guess right now is the best platform if you want to spread your views among people who are like leaning towards you, because there is VK, right? Probably you heard about it. It's like a copy of Facebook was like a while ago. It still exists. It was actually also created by Pavel Durov, who created Telegram, but it was taken away from him, and now it's under government. So they read all the messages, and basically, like, people tend to leave VK, tend to not use it because of that. And we also are not very active in VK like in recent years. We were previously, but not right now. But so yeah, Telegram is a great place to spread your ideas.
And our previous page in Vkontakte in VK was prohibited by the platform.
Yeah.
When we think about like threats to you were talking about how the opposition fights internally. Would you say that the biggest threats to getting libertarianism out there and having libertarian victories are external and come from Putin regime and elsewhere, or are they more the infighting and the internal feuds?
Good question. I think external ones play a huge role in this, because you cannot speak freely. Like, you cannot connect with random people, and just talk about your ideas. You have to be very mindful of what you say and stuff. So yeah, I think external plays a huge role, but internally, I mean, when I say that opposition is fighting, I mostly say that they fight like in Russian opposition. There are a lot of groups of interest, right? There are like liberals who also divide by different factions, and basically these people find amongst themselves. We were like, even in the best years, we were kind of watching them, from afar. We tried to not like go into this, and but we were in touch with many like organizations, and it was fine with us. We were like ready to collaborate on some topics, and yeah, it was okay. But yeah, I think external reasons are the main ones. Yeah, it's very hard to grow your audience right now in Russia, especially with those ideas. Like, if you would open our like buddy program, this is something that would not be liked by Kremlin. Like what we stated there, this this is not good for them. So you cannot openly talk about this. You have to think of workarounds. If we like, when we could do that, it was, I think it was pretty easy to find people who would support these ideas. Let's say, again, before the war, before all of this, like, we always have some kind of censorship, but it was much lighter before, much lighter. So when we had these conferences with a lot of speakers, we had a lot of people joining the party like straight away at these events. So yeah, it was easier. Now it's very hard.
Man, if you have another question, I'm still putting one
No,
together.
no, it's fine. I saw you drifting off, and so I didn't know if you had one lined up. Chris, they're not communists. I'm looking at the sidebar. Now Rob wants to know why Russians are such good writers, because they have a beautiful language. All case languages are gorgeous. That's just a fact. So mine had more to do with, we talked a little bit about objectives that you have in the long term. And I'm thinking now, when you talk about how you have to be very, very careful about everything that you say, my sense is that makes it obviously a lot harder to communicate what you actually want to communicate. So how do you strike the balance? And I know I asked this a little bit earlier, but between flying low enough under the radar to stay there as a party and actually creating change and getting things done? How do you manage that?
First of all, we know criminal code as
Yeah.
our 5 fingers.
Yeah.
And when we balance our thoughts, our words, just through these main criteria. And sometimes there are now restrictions apart from this official legal system, and you should just have a good feel of the political situation in Russia, to be in touch with it, and it is just not a logical sense. It is a sense of world emotional, I guess.
Yeah, and we also have like a small team of people, of politologists, of lawyers who basically give advice. Or can we say that? Should we post that? What it can result in?
Yeah.
And
So
we have
yeah,
sometimes deliberation between us. Shall we post this now or not? Or something like this.
Yeah.
You talked about earlier how people are skeptical of the government and people don't trust it and know about the corruption. So sometimes we've found that can cause people to check out of politics and just say, well, it's hopeless. I'm not going to do anything. I know everything is messed up, but I can't act. Is that sense of malaise there? And how are you pushing back against it if you find that?
Yeah, it's very hard. So just so you guys understand, this is one of the main policies in Russia, and it's been for years to keep people apolitical, so to keep them uninterested, and to push the narrative that if you stay out of politics, you'll be fine. Whatever you do, you'll be okay. Just stay out of it. I guess it's the same in China, actually. Like, you can become a successful businessman there. If you stay out of politics, you're okay. And yeah, it's been pushed a lot by Russian government. They spend a lot of money on it. And even like when elections happen, so you understand the situation, like around 14, like I guess the last elections that I saw, it was 14% attendance, which is ridiculous, and government is fine with it. They're happy with it. This is great for them because they like all of the governmental workers. They force them to go and vote, and regular people they just don't do that. So they don't even have to fake the elections actually in many cases, because people who they need to vote, they will vote, and they will vote correctly. And regular people tend to just ignore the elections, and yeah, it's hard to fight it. And I guess you just need to build your platform and spread the word. This is the only way to reach out, just regular populace, and make them do something and realize that their voice actually matters, even if it will be stolen. It still matters. Still, there is a saying, when they ask you, go and vote, because next time they may not ask you, so you need to take this chance and participate
I
in
want to
this.
add here that it is true that now a lot of Russians are enough passive in political sense because of these oppressions, because of disappointment, of frustration, because your voice doesn't mean nothing for government. But in the situation where we will have some crisis, for example, where we will be an opportunity to impact on political situation, and it is important to have a well-organized group of people who will protect these ideas, who will tell with people, like it happened in Argentina, because it wasn't in 100% predictable that libertarian will become a president. If there will be a very popular socialist or communist and enough radical, actually, I believe that Argentinians could choose him or her. But due to the existence of this power of libertarians movement in Argentina, due to existence of Milei, we have now this Argentinian experiment.
Yeah, exactly. And it's a great one to watch. I think, it sparked a lot of conversation, in the US and abroad. I know Libertarian International is very, very excited for Milei, and it's prompted a lot of the governance decisions there. Rob has maybe a last question. So he and I are actually both hockey fans. We're all actually both Washington Capitals fans, which is either very good or very bad, depending. How much does the state use sports figures to push propaganda, and how much do they go along with it? That's interesting. Yeah, in the US, we have NFL and NBA that are much more political, and the players are much more political. People don't care as much about hockey here, unfortunately, so they kind of stay out of it. But yeah, I'm wondering, or Rob is wondering, how much the state uses sports figures and other celebrities to push ideas.
We have one member of our parliament, Gosduma. His name is Nikolai Valuev, and he is a boxer, and he is a member of Putin's party, United Russia. So sometimes they use sportsmen.
Yeah, I think this is one of the prominent examples when a person got elected while being a sports person. But to answer the question, they use them a lot. I think in current Russia, it is expected of celebrities to support current regime and to do it actively, not just, be silent. You can stay silent for a while, but there will become a moment where they will expect of you to say something. And if you don't, you will have troubles. We've seen it a lot. Like people who have huge platforms, I don't know, YouTubers, singers, sports people, they suddenly get prosecuted for some ridiculous causes, for like avoiding taxation, for something like that. They will come up with the reason. Like, so yeah, they do that a lot. And actually, there were some cases where I don't remember the name. There was a sportswoman, and so basically there was some cases where celebrities turned down like on Russian regime and started supporting Ukraine, and yeah, they had lots of troubles. They cannot go to Russia anymore. Like,
and to
no
be
way.
honest, there are a lot of Russian celebrities who do not support current regime, and they criticize what happens after 2022. And actually, it is the reason why I guess the most popular singers like Alla Pugacheva now lives in Israel or United States or somewhere abroad.
Yeah, that was something that I actually wondered, because I know of some famous Russian figures, Russian celebrities, and I always wonder what the climate is among celebrities and how often they speak out in favor of the regime or against the regime, or if there's awareness that they're not really saying what they mean. So yeah, that's very interesting to hear.
Yeah, actually funny. That is a funny note. I don't think they always mean it. This is an interesting thing with celebrities, right? They don't know shit about politics, and they say what is expected of them. And there was actually like funny cases when there is a like very old singer who was popular even in like Soviet Union, and basically he was supporting with the war and Putin's party for many years. I think it is a member of this party, but there were some leaked conversations of him with some other guy where he was saying a bunch of bullshit about Putin, about Kremlin.
Wow.
And you would have to see his face when people were asking him about this. He was like, it's all fake, it's not, no way. He was so like frightened, and understandably, you can lose everything. People lose everything when you don't do what is expected of you.
That's a hard thing. And again, our celebrities do similar things, but I think you're correct that it's more that they don't really know about politics and they're kind of following a narrative. With current media platforms like the mainstream media, news channels and things, is it difficult to be taken seriously by them? Are you able to discuss issues on like news channels or shows, or do you mostly have to use things like YouTube and like digital virtual new media?
Yeah, so right now it's, I think, almost impossible to get some coverage from this type of medias. It was easier before the war. I guess when we were like campaigning or doing something public, they were covering it, and we had their contacts. Like our press secretary had the contacts, and we were in touch, and we were trying to spread the word, not like with the Kremlin, state media, not with those, but just like regular media who work. They have some ties, but I guess it's impossible to not have ties with Kremlin and still work inside of Russia, because they persecuted not only political activists and politicians, also the media. Like we have no independent media, like none whatsoever in Russia right now. All of them had to flee. They're located now in Lithuania, like in Estonia, in Netherlands. So basically they just ran, and because they were persecuted. So it is very hard right now. So Alec, maybe you have something to add.
Just prolongate this topic with coalitions with our powers, because our alternative media in general are liberal, and we have a lot of ideological conflicts with them, and that is why they do not like us and do not write about our problems. When we have, for example, arrests or something like this, and now it is we are isolated from the general population who watch TV, and from even activists who mainly support liberal movement in Russia. And to solve this problem, Mikhail Svetov, which we mentioned earlier, created his own media, which is libertarian, and it is not very huge, but enough popular among political realm of Russia.
So, for our audience, they're using liberal properly and not to mean Democrat. So, one of the things that we have been seeing a lot of is the rise in the jingoistic nationalism here. And I've been curious before how prevalent that sort of nationalism is in Russia. So I guess the question here is, who is swallowing the official Russian narrative, the government narrative, and how prevalent is that among people? Like, obviously, you've mentioned that there's a lot of people that are just like, oh no, I don't trust the government, and so it's like they're willing to hear the libertarian message. But there's at least some who do. How prevalent is that? Oh,
I can go. Okay, I thought you put in something. Yeah. So the thing with nationalism in Russia, it has a long history, and actually, we had like almost, not almost, basically like this, football hooligans groups in Russia in the 2010s. They were all detained. Like, it is basically this type of movement basically is non-existent right now. But there is new type of nationalists. We have some organizations that are not officially tied with Kremlin, but they support their policy, and they support like the war, basically the actions of Kremlin. And there are some portion of young people who fall for that. And but I guess not too many. I think most of them they're not interested, they don't care. But there are some.
And if we
So,
speak about Russian nationalists, we should say that there are a lot of nationalists who do not support Kremlin, and they were arrested actually before 2022 or 21. nationalists were the group which were persecuted by government in major scale when our movements, because government remembers the example of Ukraine, where nationalists were like a power of Maidan and these Ukrainian revolutions, and they fears them actually. And yeah, if we talk about some modern and pro-Kremlin nationalistic movements, we have so-called Russian commune, I guess it will be translated, and they are tied, they are bounded with government non-officially, and they disrupted, for example, lectures of libertarians. My lecture in Rostov, it is a city in Russia, was disrupted by them.
Wow. Wow.
Speaking of, if you ever have video of the lectures, if you have articles that are written that you would like to get to a wider audience, and they don't have to be English necessarily here, we have a journal. We have the Torch, and that's also our media arm. Amanda's giving me a look now, I think. And so we can republish those things, and we can have another place so that people can find them. We are
Cool. Share the link.
Yeah,
Yeah, please. Yeah, no, but it would be fascinating to see some of the lectures as well and be able to share those. I think the more that we can be sharing international libertarian media, the better. And yeah.
And I can email this afterwards too,
Yeah.
but I've put it in the private chat for the moment.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
We want libertarian thought and views from everywhere, right? It should be a very large thing. I'm a little surprised Amanda's not going for this one, so I don't know if I'm supposed to shut up here.
You know, I'm not asking you to shut up. It just felt weirdly self-promotional because I edit the Torch. So it I don't know. I feel like they're doing important things, Kyle, and I want to be focused on their important things.
Oleg is editor-in-chief, so presumably he is putting articles out. He's telling you that he's out there at speaking events and everything else. So if they have these things and they can send them along to us, we can reshare them and hit a wider audience. Well, we can let people know how important LP Russia is.
But that's a great that segues into a good question. I think that things like lectures and speaking events are very important. I think that people should be getting out more in the public and organizing events where people attend. What kind of crowds do you have at those events? What's the composition? Are they mostly libertarians? Are there people who are just curious about the philosophy? Who do you see?
First of all, it is youth, because they are looking for some ideals, some values which will be useful for them during their whole life, and that is why they are interested in philosophical lectures, on lectures about economy, about politics, and so on. When we have a small group of people who are elder and support libertarian ideas because they remember Soviet Union collapse, and that is why they do not want to see something like this again. If we will speak about occupations, there are a lot of IT specializers who are interested in libertarianism because they just
case everywhere.
Yeah, I'm interested in why that is though.
Yeah, because they are connected with these ideas in their job. They use the internet, international web, international communication to find their job, to get their sailors in of wages in bitcoins or USDT and so on. That is why they're interested. I guess this is the main groups who are now supported libertarian ideas.
I guess that's a fair question on the personal level for both of you. What specialization do you have? What sort of jobs do you typically do as your day job, or do you have more time to put toward LP things than some of our members are forced, as some of our members are forced into wage slavery here?
Yeah, sure. I work in tech. As Alex said, actually, we have a joke like inside our party that our party is a party of
Oh, wow.
software engineers because we have a lot of tech people. I'm not software engineer. I'm a product designer, but still I work in tech.
Yeah, I'm political scientist and work mainly at university.
Yeah, we have as well a lot of tech people, and then I was also one of the more academic people. So yeah, it's mostly a balance of tech folks and then regular, I guess, blue collar trades and random academics like me. So
Yeah, it's I'm also in the tech sphere.
Yeah.
So
in case you couldn't tell, but yeah.
yeah.
Good representatives of libertarian movement.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
It I've wondered before if that's part of our problem, that so many of the people who have come to libertarianism tend to be in tech and with so much of a stereotype that we don't know how to speak to people. So there's you're trying to talk to someone and they're like, I don't speak your computer, bullshit, libertarians.
I do think there's something that with at least U.S. libertarianism, and I don't know if it's pervasive internationally. There's a lot of there's a special vocabulary that libertarians have when we talk to each other, right? And so we'll just use certain phrases that maybe other people don't understand or they don't know what the significance of, if we'll talk about the state, we already recognize that we don't like the state. But there's a barrier when we're trying to communicate with other people, trying to communicate these ideas. Does that also happen with Russian libertarians, or is it more that you understand that you have to be reaching out to more people? Because again, it's like sometimes we have a different language with libertarians that we use, and we don't know how to break out of it when we're talking to non-libertarians.
Yeah. To your point, Kyle, you were saying that people like libertarians who work in tech don't tend to speak out, speak publicly. I think tech people are not the problem here, at least in our party, So we have this group of people who are like very theoretical, who are into philosophy, and what they want to do, they just want to argue in Telegram. That's it. They don't want to go out there and talk to people. They are not interested in that. And these are actually the type of people who criticize the ones who go and campaign and go out in public, talk to people. So yeah, I don't know if we are the problem.
See, people wish I would just argue in Telegram. That would be better for them. just shut up and talk in Telegram. But yeah.
Yeah, I think you just need, to speak publicly, you just need to be some type of person. It doesn't matter like if you're in tech or not in tech. And for most people, I think you just need to start. There is a lot of like fear for that, and yeah, you just have to start and it will be fine. And I agree that it is very important, and it is as much important to not use this specific language because people don't understand it. We need to speak simply.
Oh no.
God, she froze.
We lost Marina. Oh no. Yeah, I may continue maybe with actually it is some kind of our own security or protection that we sometimes had to talk by very tough, not maybe realistic, theoretical, academic language with common people. Yeah. Oh, Marina, hello. Just because government sometimes doesn't understand what do we mean actually.
Yeah.
And it is good for us.
That's also a good point. I think, yeah, maybe I'm too in favor of the theoretical language, but that's a good way to code things so that less intelligent politicians might not know exactly what you're talking about, and they just see a long wall of text, and I'm not going to read that. So that might be a new avenue. That's new technology there.
All we had to do was to have a Russian man tell Amanda the same thing we've been telling her for months.
No.
She's a fan.
I'm saying we should write more. I'm saying we should write longer and more more heady in the weeds things now. because again, our politicians are not particularly bright.
Amanda's background includes a lot of studying of Russian history, in fact. And so she's already given me a look of like, you shut up, Kyle.
I am giving you a look because I don't want to get a quiz. I don't want to get a pop quiz.
But that's where the comments have made jokes toward Amanda being one of the 3 Russians on stream. Just as some background clarity there.
Yeah, if you're seeing jokes on the comment bar, it has to do with my academic interests. So,
yeah. Amanda, where did you study?
So I got my BA at the University of Southern California. I got my master's at the University of Chicago. And then I was getting my PhD at UCLA. And then my advisor moved to UW-Madison, University of Wisconsin-Madison. So I was there for, until I left to write and edit full time. But yeah, so that's the other thing. Academia is, I don't honestly think that it is particularly progressive. I think academia is strangely conservative and very hierarchical. So that was one of the things that was difficult to realize, is that in academia, there's not a whole lot of appetite for new ideas. And I don't know if academic institutions in Russia are different, if they're kind of bastions of free thought in an otherwise very censored society, or if it's the same way, if it's more just promulgation of whatever doctrine they're supposed to promote.
We had such bastions of liberal thought, but they were destroyed just last couple years. Unfortunately, a lot of scientists in social science, in political science, in humanitarian knowledge had to leave Russia, and now they work somewhere in United States, for example, or in Israel, or in Germany. And unfortunately, now we have very bad situation with humanitarian education. Unfortunately, because government now it understands that it is important to somehow influence on development of youth brains, on ideas, and that is why they often support people with it is not conservative, maybe neo-reactionary ideas or something like this, who support their regime.
Yeah.
And they now work in every universities.
I went toward my PhD before realizing that the path I was on could only really lead to working with the government and being like, I can't do this. And so I left academia for a different reason than Amanda, but was also similarly disgusted with the U.S. academia here, or the academia here in the U.S. There we go. That's how words work. And I had found that Munich was easier to speak more freely on, but I've even been watching people that I've been following in Germany who are losing their positions for speaking out against some of the more established ideas at this point. And so I think that Amanda's question is really interesting. She and I have talked about it several times on this idea of if you were allowed to speak out on differences even inside of your own subject, because that's kind of losing its place right now in so many places.
Yeah, and for context, am also in political science, political theory, and there's a lot of homogeneity, and it's very, very sad. I think the university system, nationally, but perhaps globally as well. I don't know.
Now, in general, our main problem now is government influence, which is very high, because now we have obligatory courses about Russian rooted values or something like this, and they are useless for students, but it doesn't matter. Do you study political science or biology or physics? You will study this stuff. additionally for your main courses, but it is a part of propaganda in every university which exists.
But, we have accidentally put Marina to sleep for a second here.
But yeah.
So one of the things that I was hoping in here is to also ask if you had questions for us, because sometimes
Look how we're boring.
sure, but sometimes asking questions of your hosts leads to an interesting discussion for the things that you have in your perspective of what you want to talk about. So, are there things that we could answer potentially, or similarly, like, is there something that you want to hear me whine about? And if not, that's fine.
I think he probably wants to know like why your
I would
microphone.
have a question if you guys can hear me.
Yes. Yeah. We can hear you.
You can hear me well. Okay.
Yes, yes.
Okay. So yeah. Okay. I have a question. So Kyle, you were talking a lot about this international libertarian movement. So what is your vision? What is your plan? Like, I don't know. Let's talk about 5-year plan. What would be a success for you?
Oh, you're asking me instead of Amanda, and I'm sad about it.
Okay, you're the one who brought it up. You're the one who brought it up.
I understood entirely. I understood the trap I set for myself accidentally here. So, I want to see libertarian parties everywhere start to grow, and every one of them start to have some level of cooperation internationally, so that libertarians sort of have a home wherever they go. You know, right now your only embassies are country-based embassies rather than personal-based, rather than idea-based. And so I would like to see these libertarian parties who are working together, especially through Libertarian International. You know, if you know, for instance, if I'm coming to Russia, I know who I can go talk with and find information and know how to not end up in Putin's prisons. You know,
I think we also just need. Sorry, I interrupted you. Go
on. And as far as the movement actually goes, I want to see the government start to see that the people are who hold the power. At the end of the day, I made this point in a stream this past week. There are 536 people who are making the decisions for the entire United States effectively. And so there's 350 million people here. Sure, they have the backing of the military, and it's scary and it's frightening. But the moment that the people come together and actually stand up and say, "You're not going to do this to us anymore," is the moment where we begin to see our freedom come back. And so I think that sort of libertarian revolution of standing up together is the thing I want to see. And I think that the more countries where it starts to happen, the easier it becomes in countries that are more locked down and are going to have a harder time in it. So while I disagree with Javier Milei on some of his policies and things, he's this huge win for libertarianism because we've seen this giant win. And I want to continue seeing those wins everywhere, because every country where libertarians actually stand up and they are successful, it makes it one step easier for the Libertarian Party of Russia, the Libertarian Party of the United States, the Libertarian Party of China, who have a Libertarian Party, and I can't imagine how fun that is, to stand up and do things. It makes it one step closer to places like North Korea being able to have libertarians come in and stand up and push back the oppression. I don't know how long this takes. I don't know where in 5 years that looks, but that's my North Star, my guiding star for myself, is that until every country has the opportunity to see this libertarian revolution, I have more work to do.
I think when we talk about international concord too, that's the way to have that scaling effect. So if there's something going on in Georgia, the country, Kyle, not your home state, which doesn't matter.
I was confused.
There's something going on in Georgia, then there needs to be, or there should be, some kind of connection where other parties can be able to offer whatever resources are needed, right? Maybe it's not monetary, maybe it's media-based, maybe it has to do with messaging, and maybe it's personnel who are there somehow, but there needs to be more interaction and more awareness, generally speaking, what's going on around the world. There are a lot of libertarians in the United States that don't know about the situation in Georgia at all, that know very little about what's going on in Russia. And liberty doesn't have borders. So I don't know why any libertarian is thinking that their concerns for liberty should stop at a particular border. So that's one thing that we would like to see more of, is just that communication. Libertarian International is a great way to do that. But again, it requires that buy-in from parties around the world, including those who are just getting started or aren't able to establish themselves officially.
Notice the differences in mine and Amanda's language there. I'm like, this is what I would like to see, and Amanda's like, this is what we would like to see. Amanda has commanded me here, so that's what we want.
No, in politics, the first person plural is very important. That's all, and we know this.
It is known.
It is known, yes. But yeah, it's been. I know that we don't want to take too much of your time, but it's really been wonderful talking with you, and hopefully we can have more discussions. Please do send material our way, if it's lectures, if it's articles. And again, they don't even need to be in English, because again, we'd like to be building an international presence. So please do that. And thanks so much for being here once again. Is there anything that we should have asked that didn't, or anything further that you'd like to mention?
No, I think it went great. Yeah, and thank you. Thanks a lot for inviting us. It was great meeting you guys.
It was very interesting conversation.
Yes.
Is there anything that our audience can do to help you guys? Do you have, obviously I shared the links to follow on X and Telegram.
Yes, please follow us on every social media.
Follow them.
Are there places to donate? Are there places to read more thought, etc.? Is there anything else that we can do for you?
Great.
Galia, any ideas?
Actually, no ideas, because it is prohibited in Russia to have any deals with foreigners if you are politicians.
Got it.
I don't know how you can help us in our conditions now.
Well, we have an issue too with
you can share us
with the Libertarian International. So it was sort of refounded and headquartered in the United States, and we had to have, this was a topic of our meeting. We had to talk about foreign agent registration and how Russia couldn't formally be part of the reincorporation decision because of the tensions between the U.S. and Russia. So yeah, it's pervasive. There are a bunch of silly rules that keep people from working together.
One of the immediate questions Amanda had at during this was, well, LP Russia has to be able to have a vote. They're going to be able to have a vote, right? Even if they can't be part of the reincorporation. And it's, I think that those sort of thoughts are things that, at least in the US LP, have been missing. That we really have to work together. Right now, the libertarians in Canada are doing a better job than us, and that should be embarrassing to us. They're Canada. So, this, I think that an international movement both allows for friendly rivalries, and if any of the LP Canada folks are watching, I'm jealous is why I'm making fun of you. And so, I'm really excited about it. If you guys think of anything we can plug to get people to follow and help, let us know. Even if it's not now, send us an email. We'll get it out there.
Okay, thank you for you, and thank you for your audience.
Thank you so much, Rena. Thank you, Alec.
Yeah. Thanks,
guys. All right, guys. And just as a reminder to our audience, we found out that there is an LNC meeting on Sunday, so we're going to be here broadcasting. You can enjoy that and watch us suffer through it. Both of you, thank you so much. And yeah, we will talk again.
Yeah.